wouldst thou like to live deliciously?
Solitus tuo, usuncarum, ungularum, delectatque contremescit me. Intra, intro.
And hello, my ragtime gal.
Pal.
Yes!
Oh.
Hey, welcome back to another episode of 13th Elm. It's your favorite podcast that you've ever listened to. It's your boy Bill. It's my host this week. That means we watched something fun. And I'm with two guys that are also fun. What are their names? Remind me.
I don't know. Bring them out.
Mykel.
Bring them out.
Oh, I'm one of them? So it must mean the Rob's the other.
That's right. I am the other one.
Okay. Well, we've been introduced.
You know
Problem
who
solved.
it is. This week we watched Night of the Demons, 1988 cult classic. Horror comedy directed by Kevin Tenney. Didn't do a whole lot of stuff like we kind of touched on last week. It seemed like he's mostly known for this and Witchboard, which we kind of watched like 30 minutes of, and just seeing this, it seemed like Witchboard he was trying to be serious, and this one he wasn't. But this shit is fucking funny. Right? Rob's eating.
yeah.
Mykel's not paying attention.
No, I'm paying attention. I was waiting for you to. Well, I was going to say he did a movie called Witch Trap, I believe.
I wonder if that's a sequel.
It's like The Parent Trap?
1989 Witch Trap. And then he also did like the Pinocchio's like revenge movie, like the sequel to the Pinocchio movies. Remember in the 90s when they did like Snow White and Rumpelstiltskin and Pinocchio and like all those like folk tale, fairy tale horror movies? He did one of those.
As like horror or just as
Horror movie. Yeah, they're all like horror theme.
I don't remember a Rumpelstiltskin Disney movie.
I think I had a Snow White tape. I think I destroyed it.
Yeah, so this movie was a ton of fun. I think
You know that from the beginning.
Yeah. Oh, well, yes. Very
The
early
animation intro and the song.
It's great. That was actually a really good intro. Opening credit sequence was badass. I love the animation and the music in the beginning. Although the music as the movie goes on, we'll get into it.
The animation though, yeah, I love it. I love the little like paper cutout. They look like Halloween decorations, kind of, in a roundabout way.
Yeah, little flying skeletons and shit.
Yeah, it was just fun. It was like a cool, unique way of doing it. I don't know. I was smitten.
Yeah, it set a completely different tone than I was expecting the opening credits to set, and also a tone that wouldn't carry very far through the movie. Like, I mean, it was fun. It wasn't necessarily scary, but it was almost like Halloween Town or like Tim Burton-esque like opening
it was very
sequence.
playful.
It was very playful, and this movie was a little bit more NC-17.
Sexy.
Even though there was a lot of shit cut out of the movie, I guess. The version we watched, we got to see a little bit more of the unrated version. But yeah, this was a really fun movie. Not a lot of known names in it, at least to me. Like we said, Kevin S. Tenney was the one who did the writing and directing. But outside of that, Linnea Quiqley is the only name that I'm really super familiar with. A lot of the other names, this was their only credit.
Yeah.
But what is her name? She plays...
Are you talking
Judy?
about the... no, not Judy, the other girl?
Angela?
Fuck. Oh, no. Is she in other stuff?
Angela is the other girl who gets possessed.
Yeah, she's the
played
main
by,
like witch girl at the whole house.
Yeah.
Frankfurter.
Yeah, Amelia Kincaid is her name. She's billed as Kiki Kincaid maybe in this movie. Something like that. She went by that name for a while, but she is in the other 2 sequels. So she continues on in the movies, which are also directed by Kevin S. Tenney, I guess, and so is Witchboard 2. So he did
Some sequels.
make some movies. But she is also... This woman had a wild-ass life and has written a bunch of different books and is like the niece of Blanche from the Golden Girls, like Blanche Devereaux from the Golden Girls, and she's also a pet psychic who's performed for Prince Charles
for
and his
real?
hunting horses.
That's wild.
What?
Yeah.
Psychic.
Yeah, she's lived a crazy life.
What a grift.
I did not get into that. I did not find that.
Yeah, she's badass. I mean, she's also kind of just saying some crazy shit, but she's fucking cool. She's written some children's books. She's written some books on like pet psychology.
I don't know if I'd read those.
I don't think you need to. Yeah, but she's
Different pets, I think.
Yeah, that's right.
They're written in
Blood.
in blood.
They're written in blood and pet.
So cats can
Pet blood.
read them.
Yes.
Do you think
it's a scent.
cats can read in any language as long as it's written in blood?
I believe that's true. I've heard that.
That is true.
Which
Don't
is why
Google it,
if you
but
ever
it's
look
true.
at a cat, you can tell they're always working towards inventing the blood pewter or the blood printer.
Oh. Okay. I was thinking like blood bronze, blood pewter, blood.
Pewter Rabbit was a little antique shop in my hometown.
Yeah. Was it
Oh.
cute?
It was cute enough to stick around for a few years
Well, it's
until the yuppies moved in and bought everything up. Now I think it's like a beer, like a stock market beer bar where the prices change. You know what I mean? This is so stupid.
I don't know what you mean. What is that?
So it's like a
Stock market
draft
beer bar?
house. Yeah, it's like a draft house where, like, according to like happy hour, like time of day, and like what kegs are selling or how much beer is left in each keg, like the price is like liquid, and it.
Oh yeah. Okay. So like if they're trying to get rid of a keg, they cut the price.
No, but it's like that whole pricing structure is based on that. Like,
Okay.
not just like
It sounds
kind
like,
of like it changes like per 15 minutes. Like the boards change. It's like it's supposed to mimic like
That's
a stock
wild.
market. It's
That
really
sounds awful, though.
dumb. It's really dumb.
Hmm.
They were a quick fad that lasted barely, and I don't think it was very widespread. Anyway, fascinating stuff. Night of the Demons. Back to the movie.
So this is not a. I mean, this is not a new plot, right? We get horny teens going to an abandoned place to die. And we get a taste of these kids early, and they are fucking funny. The old man, they just bully this old man at the
dude.
beginning.
Yeah, the old man is
Stooge.
great. It doesn't. I don't know. I don't feel like it's necessary, but I like it.
It becomes a huge theme, not a huge theme,
It's a bookend.
but they fucking, this is his old man minding his own business, and they call him an old fart, and Stooge moons him.
Tell him to look in
Moons
the
him
mirror.
with his underwear on.
Tells him look in the
Yeah.
mirror.
Yeah.
Shows him his underwear, which is a jack-o'-lantern on his big pasty white ass.
I saw in the trivia actually that he refused to
I
show
saw
his
that,
bare
yeah.
butt, which is like, come on, show your bare butt balls back.
Also, this guy just hates kids, and he's like going home from the grocery store at 7:30 p.m. on Halloween night.
So that's what I was thinking. I
With
was
apples and razor blades
I was
to
like-
hurt children in the
like, I
neighborhood.
was wondering. That's why I was like, immediately, I was like, wow, this is deep. I was like, this is like really deep. This is philosophical, even.
Mm.
I was like, are they mean to this man because he's trying to kill kids, or is he trying to kill kids because they're mean to this man?
Yeah, because he's coming home from the grocery store and he
Someone
drops
else-
his grocery bag, and out of his grocery bag falls like razor blades and apples and
But
some like bread and
after
butter.
Stooge,
and
like
shit.
after the main character, someone else random just is really mean to him as well, which makes him
No,
drop
no.
his groceries. And then the girl tries to help him.
The girl-
and he's
the
like,
girl
"Get
is-
away, you fucking whore!"
The girl is like nice to him. She's like, "Oh, do you need help?" And she's like, "Don't touch me!" Ah!
But two people are mean to him.
Who else besides?
I don't remember,
Stooge?
but there was two. There was definitely
Okay.
two. Maybe the second one was after the girl tried to help.
Doesn't matter.
It does.
So one of the things about this movie that I found interesting, and Bill, tell me if you agree with this.
Oh well.
The reason why I like the movie is because like I actually know the characters, and like so many of the
Oh, yeah.
movies in this era, in this genre, we had switched over to like dispensable protagonist in favor of a marketable figurehead of the franchise in the form of the antagonist killer, a la Jason, Pinhead, Freddy, Mykel, yada yada yada. So you didn't really get to spend time with them. This movie reminded me of a handful of different movies, but one movie that it reminded me of in particular was Mother's Day, because the beginning of the movie spends so much time with the characters. We don't get any kills or gore until like 50 minutes in.
It does take a while.
And the whole time you're spent with the characters, even though they're like initially broken up in different groups, as they always are, and because they're all like different backgrounds of characters, right? And then they come and get locked into one house for the night on Halloween, of course, which is classic horror trope. But you meet Stooge, and he's doing his stupid shit. Then you meet like Raj, and he's doing his whole thing. Or I guess Raj is with Stooge, dressed up as a pirate. Then you get Linnea Quigley's character Suzanne and Angela.
Angela at the store first.
So they're all like doing their own things, and like I feel like you get to actually know them and their names and kind of like who they represent in the real world, which makes you root for them, like in ways that movies at this time weren't doing, because the characters were so quickly just slashed on screen. It was just a body count movie.
Need to care about their names.
And I love those movies for that reason too, because I just want to see the kill.
I totally agree. Most of the time when I'm like doing notes on movies like this, I'm just like, this, pink shirt dies at this part, and she, like, I don't even know their fucking names, but in this it's like, oh yeah, it's Judy and Jay and Roger and Suzanne and Angela.
How crazy is Sal?
Sal is so funny. His accent is so real.
I think we were what?
Sal is just, his accent is so real. Fuck off.
It's like he's from another movie. It's like he walked in from another set, and they're just like, yeah, sure, we'll have like a super.
He's from Goodfellas.
Yeah, exactly. It's crazy.
Like the flashback scenes of Goodfellas, like he's friends with young Henry Hill.
Like his dialogue and the little brother's dialogue is just
bodacious boobies.
Yeah, it's wild.
That was. Yeah.
He also drops an F-bomb, which is, that's to be expected. It's like 80s, but
yeah.
Yeah, man, Sal is crazy.
But yeah, so Sal is, the main girl is Judy, and it takes a while for you to find this out, but obviously Sal knows her, but she doesn't want to see him. He like comes to the house. It's like kind of like Billy and Tammy, but not nearly as insane.
Right.
And she's like going to the dance with this guy Jay now, but Jay's like, no, let's blow off this dance and go to this party at the Whole House,
right? Which
is like a notorious haunted house in the area or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're invited by Angela, who is known as a freak. She's this goth girl.
She's like
that
a Wicca.
practices witchcraft, and they're like, oh, it's got to be a good party. This is like Christmas to her. There's a lot of good lines in this, especially in the first like 30-40 minutes. It's really quotable. This
movie is so quotable.
What does he say? Eat a bowl of fuck?
Eat a bowl of fuck.
Yeah, that's so good.
Which is apparently John Belushi said that famously, which is why it was in there. I didn't know that, but yeah, so many good lines. I mean, yeah, the little brother hides in his sister's closet, and she's getting undressed, and he pops out and goes, bodacious boobies, sis.
And then he says,
keep growing those, you'll have to hire someone to tie your shoes. Which is an insane thing to say to your sister.
How old is he supposed to be?
12 or 13?
11, 12, yeah.
How old is she supposed to be? Like 17?
With his mom.
He's so mouthy.
He's a little fucker.
He's a little fucker.
But then also, we see, and like, this is what I like about this movie, is like, no one is who they appear to be. Kind of. So he immediately is introduced as like this piece of shit younger brother, but then Sal comes to the house and he's like where's your sister going tonight? I want to see her. And he's like, fuck off, like blah blah blah. And he's like, here's a quarter for your troubles. Like, where is she? And he's like, you think I would sell out like my wonderful sister for a quarter? Which he obviously could just be him trying to get more money, but he delivers that line really sincere.
Him and Roger are
like he
great.
Actually cares about his sister, and then Sal, does some more finagling and gives him $1, and he's immediately like, oh, they're going to the Whole House.
Why would they go there? Don't ask me.
It's like
a mob shakedown, that whole scene.
Yeah, and most of that's
Oh,
because
yeah.
this dude is like,
Slicked back hair.
fuck, he's
Yeah.
got
Itty
a
bitty
voice smoother than fucking olive oil.
He just came from the west side of town.
He's wearing a bowling shirt.
Yeah, he's wearing like a denim bowling shirt.
Yeah.
Oh, he says
like
something.
a red undershirt.
He says something along the line. He says something about coming back and having to drop a load, and then he's gonna
Oh,
kick
yeah.
that kid's ass.
I gotta drop a load. Then I'm gonna come back and kick your ass.
It's like a high schooler threatening to beat up like an 11-year-old.
It is funny.
His accent is so fucking funny.
So it's Halloween night. Obviously, if we didn't say that, that's where the party is happening.
Yeah.
And then Angela is at the store with Suzanne, presumably like picking up treats and supplies because she's hosting the
Stealing.
party. Yeah, she's stealing, which is how we are introduced to Suzanne is a gratuitous shot of like
Upskirt panties.
it's just like
It's on display.
it's not even like upskirt panties. It's like full
Panties.
on
It's like a prom
bent
dress.
over.
Well,
Dress.
she's dressed as a doll.
Yeah.
So it's like a short doll's
It's
dress.
like doggy style. It's like,
got, like, the frilly
everything you
socks.
could see without
Yeah.
seeing it yet.
And she's doing it on purpose to distract the two sleazeballs at the counter who are staring at her butt while her friend Angela steals all the shit that they need for the party. But knowing, I didn't know the name of her character. I just knew she was in this. And as soon as it because it cuts to from like Sal and the
Oh,
little kid,
yeah.
like it just cuts to a girl's butt, and I was like, oh, like this is
Linnea
Quiqley. Like
Quiqley.
this
Yeah.
is definitely
And
how
you know
they
what's
would
funny?
introduce her character. And of course,
You know what's
it
funny
is.
I was sitting here watching it, and Rob was on the couch. I was like, "Oh, that's Linnea Quiqley," and he's like, "Is it?" I was like, "Definitely." And I texted you last night. I was like, Linnea Quigley's entrance in this movie is fucking legendary because it's honestly probably like 23 solid seconds of just like
It's so long.
it's insane. It's like as a straight man who watches a lot of horror and porn and like is attracted to Linnea Quigley, like I was starting to get uncomfortable. I was like, this has been a long time. Like you can't just stare at somebody this long. This is uncomfortable. But yeah, legendary entrance. She's honestly, I don't know. She's the queen of the bees. She's Scream Queen. She's Linnea Quigley. But this was one of her like best acting performances. Like she's actually pretty good in this and has
She's
quite a few
fine.
speaking lines.
Yeah.
She's really funny when she gets possessed, I feel like.
That's
Yeah.
not her
Like-
voice though, but
No, but when she gets possessed, like she just all of her mannerisms, and we'll get to it, but like there's a scene when she like her voice changes, like that is fucking hilarious. But anyway,
The voice change is really fucking funny. Can we talk about the fudge logs?
the little fucking cat turds that fucking
the little brother calls it out.
yeah, the mom tries to feed Jay and Judy.
Judy, she calls
tell
them
me
fudge
happened.
logs, and they obviously just look like turds, and you know they are, and you're just waiting. You're like, there's a punchline here. Like, when's it coming? And like nobody wants to eat them, and the little kid is like, well, of course no one wants to eat them. They look like little shits or something.
Yeah, he says like it looks some of the cat you dug out of the litter box or some shit like that. I can't remember. But okay, two things about this movie before we
One.
get any further. One is the insane wall over an underground river.
Oh yeah,
That's wild.
dude.
I mean,
The lore in this, I was excited to talk lore with this because
the lore's great.
it's crazy.
It's crazy. But also, I get like really, really big Evil Dead vibes off this
Oh,
movie.
yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's even a scene where it's like a camera being shot up, like fastly, like
Shaky
rushing up
Yeah.
to meet the people, and there's like music behind it and stuff.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Also, just like the way the demons look, the voices, the kind of campy, like
The eyes.
they don't say like we're gonna like eat your soul or like Dead by Dawn. They say stuff that's pretty close to that.
Yeah,
It's
and I think
definitely
that's
a
definitely
nod.
on purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But which is
Not
fine.
subtle.
I like it.
No.
But yeah, the lore, man. The like obviously Whole House, Hell House. Like I feel like that's why they called it that, right?
Yeah,
Definitely.
probably.
Sounds close enough.
Yeah.
Definitely, which is a novel by a famous horror author whose name I know and I'm forgetting, but they've made it into several movies. There's like Hell House LLC, but I'm just buying time so I can
There's
figure
like
out
a
this guy's
big.
name.
It's like a large like estate house, like almost like a mansion, realistically, like multiple, like a dozen rooms.
Like it's like the Haunting
maybe
of Hill
more.
House.
Yeah, and there's a giant grounds, or maybe not giant. There's like a large grounds, and then like a high, like a fucking 12-foot brick wall,
which is surrounding the entire
surrounded
perimeter.
entire perimeter because there's an underground river, not a lake, a river that runs in a circle, like in a corkscrew.
And we figure this out because Jay, who is his Halloween costume is like a doctor, so he has a stethoscope. He goes over to the wall and just puts his stethoscope to the ground, and he's like, "Oh my God, it's true! Come listen." And I thought this was going to be a prank. I was like, "Oh, it's going to be good. He's going to like fart in it or something." All right, because that's all we've gotten up to this part. It's just like them fucking with each other. But no, he's like, "There's water that runs around this, but it's underground and it's haunted, but they have to stay in the house. The haunted shit can't cross the water." What?
I don't think that I don't know if they ever say that, or it's just like implied.
They say
do-
that because that's like the whole
Yeah,
thing.
no,
Is
they
that
say
like
it.
they have to get over the wall because that
that's
is
where the river
also where
is.
the water is, and that's when they know they're safe because they can't.
They can own.
Do
They have
that.
to inhibit a physical body in order to like.
Right.
Yeah, but
imagine if
Yeah.
that wall wasn't there, they just like run out of there and be safe.
But like it's crazy because the water thing was the water just.
Do you like that?
it's so true though.
It's the equivalent of like, why didn't they just fly to Mordor? Like, why didn't they just use the eagles? It's like, there's
Well, there
reasons.
is a reason, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons in that. We don't.
Should we get into
It's
that?
not the movie we watched or the book we read.
Are there's birds in Middle Earth?
Oh, okay, well, we got to talk about it now.
Okay. Yes.
So hold on.
No, he's
so
trolling.
it's like surveillance.
He's trolling.
birds?
Back to the film.
Okay.
Back to the film.
They're the eagles of Manway. We don't really need to get into this.
They can't fly all the way to Mordor
They-
because there was bad blood from wars that were thousands of years old, and it's not safe for them to fly over certain areas. They
Now
can't
we
just
got
take the rain.
bad blood. We
Yes.
got because Taylor Swift had a
She
concert
did
in
the
Gondor.
soundtrack for that.
No, well, yeah, no, she did actually. Now that you mention up, because that was right in her
Mention up?
Q zone. That was right in her Q zone. Because the studio came to her and they said, "Tay, can you do this for us? We just we know that you're a big Tolkien fan, or Tolkien's such a big Taylor Swift fan.
Yeah,
Hey, we
Tolkien's
can talk
so
about this
alive."
later. We can
And
talk
then
about this later.
She was like, "Bet," and then she did it.
Bet.
Yeah. I think she dyed her hair dark for that album too, because she wanted to seem more,
Like more goth.
Elvish.
fantastical. I think was her words, or maybe it was the studio's words.
Anyway, the lore was a lot of fun because the water
Yeah,
was
I
not
mean,
important. Did not add
Tolkien wrote
anything.
most of it for World War One, and then he was actually a professor of languages
Tolkien
at
wrote
Oxford.
World War One.
No, he came up with a lot of
Tolkien
stories
started
when
World
he was,
War
like,
One?
in the trenches.
Casted it.
Yeah, he casted it. Yeah,
He knew Franz Ferdinand
He casted it out
from
of-
their time in the fucking water buffalo tribe.
Franz Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know.
You get it. Back to the movie.
Back to the movie.
And then they added another layer, which was like the
Hobbit?
I don't remember because I'm just thinking of the Hobbit. Anyway, we're in this fucking party in the whole house. It's not really a party.
It is.
There's
well,
like-
it's
there's
a
like-
party until the radio dies out, and once the radio dies out, fucking Angela's
They're-
like, "Well, I know what
Let's
to
do
do."
a seance.
Exactly.
Past life seance.
Which is what you do at parties when the
And when you're
music
wicked,
Yes.
dies. When you're wicked. And
They changed the rules.
they didn't like how she was doing it.
yeah, I was gonna ask, I don't know if this is like a thing, but yeah, they did like what was it? A future life seance they
No, a
called it?
past life seance.
A past life seance.
like,
but
look-
didn't they see themselves in the future?
Well, it
Or
was
that was
like-
the point?
No. It was to like everyone look in the mirror, then the mirror goes black. Then when it lights up again, you see your past self in the mirror from a previous life.
Okay, so they do that.
Well, they try to, right? But somebody fucks up. Does Roger get up or something? And is like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah, Roger dips out because he goes outside and eventually gets locked in the car.
He locks himself in the car. He's like, I'm gonna go.
Well,
to
he
bed.
gets called and he hears a voice and he's like
can't
starts
leave.
freaking out. So he puts himself in the car.
Yeah, because Stooge is like, well, you could sleep in there.
Yeah.
That's not Stooge's voice, but you know.
Yeah.
What's the woman's name that's with Stooge and Raj?
Judy?
No,
No.
not Judy.
Suzanne?
Not Suzanne
No.
and not Angela.
The
Like,
Asian girl?
Not the Asian girl. The other girl.
I feel like
Short
that's the
hair?
one where it was like we're not this name is not important. That's like the only
Yes,
one.
she's the one.
And I
who
could
gets
look
her-
it up real quick, but yeah, that's the only
She
name
falls
I
on the car,
don't.
right?
Yes.
Yeah.
She's great. In the end of the movie, we'll talk about.
Yeah,
some of
she's
the
not
special
in it a
effects in this
lot.
movie are pretty good.
But yeah, they see some crazy shit in the mirror, like this big dragon face thing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dragon skeleton thing.
pretty janky puppet. Honestly, it was best that it
It's
was in
not-
the movie minimally.
Yeah, and the
Honestly,
mirror-
because like you kind of forget about it because it's supposed to represent the demon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like whatever the like greater god or devil that
legion.
it is.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, it's kind of like just a spirit that travels from host to host. And then you do see that puppet again at the end, but even still, like in
not
the
important.
mirror, you barely even see it. You just know that there's some fuckery
Evil,
afoot. There's
supernatural
evil in
shit.
this house, and we learn that it's not a haunted house,
it's a possessed
house.
right? And there's a big difference. So yada yada yada. We get a bunch of fucking
This
bullshit
is when we
lore
get the.
dump.
This is when we get the Evil
The
Dead
second lore
scene.
dump. Yeah. And where does she find it? Is it a book? Where does she read it from?
I don't. No, they do the fucking seance, and then like they just like dance. I don't think there's like a specific
talking, and then the thing
book.
comes up Evil Dead style from the basement
Yeah, because they do like the shit in the basement, and it's like the
oven.
third person view fucking thing that's flying, and it goes into Suzanne. It goes into
She opens.
Quigley,
Her mouth
who's,
is open. Yeah.
Yeah.
First possessed, which of course.
So good. And I like that it's not like an instantaneous switch or that like she doesn't die right away. It's like because like when it went right into her, I was like, "Fuck, man,
I
she's
thought she was
done
gonna
already."
Go nuts, yeah.
But
or,
she sticks
like,
around like
blow
for the
up or
whole
some
movie
shit.
because that's not the way this demon works.
No. You gotta.
But she
you gotta
is
work
good
them
as
in.
in like her posture kind of
She does-
changes, and she does like change her mannerisms
mean.
right away, which is
That's what I'm saying.
good
She
from
actually
her, 'cause
like
she's like, I mean, she's an adult actress, like that's why she's in these movies.
she's not an adult actress.
I mean, yeah, she's not like yeah, but she's an adult model
Yeah, she's
that
like
like got
19 or
into
20.
these. Yeah, that's why. I mean, her acting is not as good
She's
as
there
the
to get
others who are
naked.
not good. Yeah, she's
Yes.
in the movie to be naked.
Cover herself in lipstick.
Which is an interesting thing.
stick
I
herself
don't know if
with
you guys how deep you've ever gone into Linnea Quiqley.
Never.
But I have heard, and it's been said a lot, that she was like a very shy person, like growing up in high school, and even had like a bunch of anxiety disorders that were diagnosed, and she like had trouble like getting through acting. She had trouble getting through like acting school and stuff because she couldn't like talk to or like really in front of people. And then she ended up just being naked. Like think about her in like as Trash in Night of the Living Dead, right?
Yeah.
Like
Wild.
she's
Her character's name is Trash, by the way.
Yes, she-
she's not
yeah,
me. Mykel's not
character's name.
insulting her.
Capital T.
no. And so she's I don't know, she's always like at conventions and does like speaking tours and books and stuff like that because she's Linnea Quiqley. And she says that she's like really embraced kind of like the horror genre for like setting her free of that like trepidation and kind of giving her empowered roles as a woman or whatever. A lot of times she's just like super naked. She's never really like a heroine. I don't know exactly what the empowerment is, but I'm also not a woman to speak on it. So like, I don't know. It's just kind of an interesting thing because
It's just like how she got her confidence. She
she's-
felt
yeah.
free.
she's portrayed so differently than how she feels she's represents herself in real life, which is interesting because I don't know, actors do that, I guess.
And she met
So-
her husband on this set. Did you read that?
Making a mold of her breasts. Yeah.
The
Oh,
guy
yeah.
that made the mold of her breast to make the fake breast. That we'll get that in a minute.
Yeah.
They got married, which is pretty funny, pretty great.
Yeah, and I think they actually worked on another movie together too. I can't recall, but he had done some special effects stuff, and she'd been around the scene because she's done everything, man. I mean, she does this and Silent Night, Deadly Night, Sorority Based Slime Bowl, Bolorama, Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, fucking. She's in the Witchboard and Witch Trap movies. She's in Return of the Living Dead. She did that Linnea Quigley's killer workout video. What all that stuff. Like, I mean, she was making a name for herself, doing what her bit in Hollywood was. And this guy had worked with her a couple times. I can't remember his name, but yeah, they ended up getting married, which is pretty fucking fun.
Yeah,
It's cool.
it's pretty cool.
It's great.
So we get the first guy trying to escape, which is Roger, and the gate in the brick wall is gone. And I thought this shit was fucking funny.
I love that shit.
He was going like pretty slow down the wall, hitting it, just being like, the fucking gate's gone. The gate's gone. I've been around the whole thing. The gate's gone. Just kept saying that, and he was like really slowly moving and tapping. I thought that was pretty fucking funny. Was I the only one?
No, it was like kind of funny. I love that kind of like, not even like the doors lock, but like the doors disappear, or like not where it's like crazy, like fever dreamy, but like where stuff starts to not be quite right. It feels very
Like Cabin Fever, kind of, or no, that's not the right
not
one.
even really Cabin Fever. Just like it feels very
What's
like
the Cabin in the Woods?
Cabin in the Woods, or like very like I don't know, like fairy evil. I don't like
Fairy tale.
Fairy tale, yeah.
It's at this point too where we get Susanna. She like forcefully kisses Angela, like while all the chaos is happening at the end of the seance.
Yes.
She like kisses Angela, and
Yeah.
the demon is now residing in both of them. It's not something that like
It passes
only
on
be
from
in
one to
one.
another.
No.
Yeah, it's spreading.
yeah, and it could because it needs to like gather strength or some shit. I
Yeah.
don't know. So it's just demon lore. So now Angela and Suzanne are both possessed
And horny.
Oh,
This
and
is a
they're
horny demon. Quiqley takes away Stooge, who Stooge is like the tall,
Gross
like
guy.
offensive, gross, drunk, like mullet,
With the
dyed
pig
shaved hair, anarchy shirt,
snout,
Exodus, fucking
mask thing.
stickers on his car, like.
She's
Yeah.
like, well, maybe I'm in the mood for pork tonight.
Yeah,
That was funny.
that was a good line. And they leave, and then Angela stays for the infamous Bauhaus like demonic striptease for
Which is
Saul,
amazing.
which
amazing.
is such a good
It's
fucking scene.
too long.
And a great song.
I
It is
actually
too long,
disagree
but with
because
Sal acting all fucking weird and like kinda
Sal's
back- it's like
actually really
you
good
get the
here.
tension. You get the tension in it. It is a little long, but about the time you start thinking that, there's an impact from it.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, it went on for like a minute probably,
long.
and I was like, why is this still going on? But then the song changes, and like it gets like creepier, and like there's like this chant overlaid with it, and you get Sal getting like super uncomfortable, and I was like, oh, this isn't too long actually. It's kicking in now.
I love that song. I love Bauhaus. Stigmata Martyr is the song. If you're familiar with it, it is a fucking banger. But this movie was remade. Did you guys see that? 2009, this movie was remade.
Shit, no.
No, I didn't know that actually.
So this movie was remade, and the role of Angela, who actually I believe has a cameo in the movie, as
The
does
remake.
Linnea, the remake, as does Linnea Quigley, and
Nice.
they're both wearing their same outfits, like the actual
awesome.
same outfits from the set,
Awesome.
which is fucking cool. They just have like a cameo. They're like in the fucking convenience store or something, But
Yeah, like
anyway,
at the beginning.
so that scene that we're speaking about, the Bauhaus dance scene, is recreated. Angela's character is portrayed by Shannon Elizabeth, and the song is Black Number One by Typo Negative. And it's fucking badass. So I don't know, it's just
Might
fun
have
new
to watch that.
modern take on this one. But yeah, this is a great scene. And then Stooge comes in after, because Sal is like, no, she is fucking, this ain't right. She's like possessed. She's going nuts. Like, why is she
Which I like is
playing with this fire?
because Sal is kind of introduced as like a piece of shit going to this party trying to get laid, would do any, but he's like, fuck, he's like, something is wrong here,
Yeah, him and
which
Roger
is
are
like
wise.
his first sense of like him being like a decent person, because Quigley's not, Suzanne, her character name, Suzanne is like acting crazy too, but Stooge like doesn't give a fuck. Like, he's down. He's like, she's like, she could like twist her fucking head around and puke, do some exorcist stuff, and he'd be
Yeah, he's
like,
dumb.
yeah, whatever. Like,
He's
I'm
dumb.
still
Dude.
down.
He's
But
blinded
Sal is
by her
like-
beauty.
But Sal is like, wait, hold on. But this is when we get Stooge has been waiting for so long for Suzanne to get out of the bathroom. So he finally like kicks down the door and she's not in there, but or someone else finds her. Who finds her? Jay might find her. There's a lot of stuff going on right
Jay
now.
and
honestly.
Judy, because there's like
they all
9 people.
split off.
Jay
into
and
duos.
Judy go upstairs to like hook up. And Judy's like uncomfortable, and Jay's kind of pissed off, and like Judy then finds out that's kind of like the whole reason why they went to the whole house in the first place is like he just wanted to get her there to hook up. And Judy, of course, because you need one, is the virginal protagonist female who doesn't drink or have sex or do any of the things.
But she had sex with Sal, which is why
we don't know that yet, though.
Yeah, but
we don't know that.
We don't know. But this is like when we learn that like Jay's like a piece of shit because he's kind of introduced as like a nice guy at the beginning, taking her to the dance. But it turns out he only asked her because he heard a rumor that she hooked up with Sal. So, yeah. Sorry, go ahead. Whatever you're saying.
But yeah, so she's running around, and I think that's when Jay runs into Suzanne because Jay is left like by himself.
Yeah, he gets mad. He's like, "Yeah, be whatever, bitch," and leaves.
Exactly. And Suzanne and Angela are both possessed at this point in time. But anyway, Angela and Stooge downstairs. There's a kiss, right? Is this where we get our first go? Are we dance. 50 minutes in already? For the most part, like I mean.
Yeah,
probably. We don't need to go step by step, but I think the people get the point. If you haven't seen Eye of the Demons, watch it. Spoiler alert, I think we all enjoyed it enough to tell you now without giving away the ratings. Like, you can watch this movie. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But yeah, we get our first little bit of gore, and fucking Stooge is mesmerized by dancing Angela, and she, of course, brings him in, and like a Black Widow, she goes in for the kiss and bites his tongue out, and you see her bloody mouth with fangs and like her eyes, like she's clearly like getting more and more possessed as this is happening.
This is the first time we see the actual bodily transformation that we'll see a lot later on, but this is the first time. And for the first bit of gore, like it was decent.
It was quick. It was good, but it was quick.
Yeah.
Most of this
like
is quick.
The actual
and, like, sharp cuts to the next scene, right? Like all the
violence, there was basically a lot of cutting around,
which is not the worst thing. Like what you see is good. It's just so quick, and I wanted more.
You had to wait a long time to get it.
I wanted more like viscera, Like there's some good, like the burning stuff is really good later on. Like I really liked how her hands looked, and like when she's smoking coming out at the end.
That shit was good, and it's because it's fucking. They were just doing that.
And the razor blade stuff at the end is really good. That's like good gore.
The eye gore is good. The skin gore, like it was all good. It was just good, like you waited a long time, and it was like quick.
I think we stopped the movie. It was like 49 minutes in, and it was right before that first tongue thing, and I was like, okay, well, some blood. She like spits the tongue out, but that's my biggest beef. I think besides the soundtrack is just honestly,
there could have been more on screen violence.
Like the original soundtrack, like the musical the score wasn't
really
great
for it.
It was just like all over the place.
It also had like old, like I don't know, 50s kind of organ music, and like there might have even been a theremin in there. Like I don't know. It wasn't hokey. It just it was off-putting and weird and janky and all over the place.
It was wild. It's definitely something that I didn't like but did not dislike enough that it bothered me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it didn't distract from my enjoyment.
Exactly, it didn't take from it. But, so fuck, who were you saying? Jay finds Suzanne.
Meanwhile, Raj is in the car, and the girl whose name we don't know.
Its body falls on the windshield.
Which is
solid.
Kill. Like, I mean, you don't get to see a lot of it because you get it from the other side of the windshield, but like, and it's dark, but like her head gets fucking mashed.
Yeah. And
at the end, you get to see some of the damage done, and it looks really good.
Yeah. And it happens pretty quick. It's kind of like a jump scare.
Like the first time? Yeah.
Yeah, which is good. But then, we get this great scene of when Jay finds Suzanne, who's just like in the corner of like a closet, and she pops her shirt open, and well, first she has like she's like putting on lipstick and talking about like, does my makeup look good? And
This is a great scene for her.
She draws a heart
On her
with
face.
lipstick on her face, like her whole face, which is like kind of creepy but mostly funny because it just looks ridiculous.
Like, yeah, from like her chin to her eyes.
Yeah, like her entire face, like around, up over the eye, around the cheek to the chin, this huge heart of lipstick. And then she pops her shirt open, and I'm like, those aren't real boobs. And I'm like, well, that's
Because they're not.
you know, whatever. She might not have real boobs, but then I'm like,
So
no, my brain is
far
like,
apart.
wait. I'm like, no, these are not real boobs. And then sure enough, she takes that lipstick and she shoves it inside of her nipple.
It's a large tube of lipstick. I don't know what you do. Stick?
Tube.
A stick of
It's a
lipstick?
tube.
A tube of lipstick.
Yeah.
It's big.
And just sticks it in there. And this is
All the way.
to
Gone.
Jay's character is like taken aback by that, but then she like starts grabbing at his crotch, and he's just like, okay, sure.
It's such a weird thing to put
Yeah, I
in a
get that.
movie.
Lipstick getting shoved into a nipple.
Well, she draws on her chest and shit too, with the lipstick for a while before she like. It's like a spiral
it's a
that.
long scene.
It's a spiral that
Oh, yeah,
ends
she
on her
circles.
nipple, and then once it gets to the nipple like end point, she presses it in all the way in. It's great. Yeah, she's just like super hot and like spaced out and possessed, and in this like ripped up.
And her hair is
Tutu
crazy.
prom dress
She's
and-
got that fucking pom pom thing
Yes.
on the top of her fucking
I
head.
love
Little troll
her
doll.
in this scene. She looks absurd.
Crazy.
She's great.
And she's
great.
selling it. Yeah. And Jay is the gross fucking predator fuck who's like trying to get some, which we love this. We love this in horror movies. We love when the sleazebag tries to take on the isolated, vulnerable fucking damsel
Demon
in
woman.
distress who is possessed by the demon or the devil or the witch, and then she fucking eviscerates these sleazebag rapist pieces of shit, which is what we get here, which feels good no matter how many times it happens and no matter how quickly you know that's exactly what you're going to get every time.
Satisfying.
You love it.
I didn't know how it was going to happen. I was obviously hoping for some kind of dick removal,
Oh, God.
which we didn't get. But
These
I mean, we got a solid eye pop.
A really good eye
hard,
pop.
like,
Double eye pop.
Hard thumbs in eyes till eyes popped on screen.
Like lots of naked Linnea Quiqley with the demonic voice change straight into eye gouge gore.
Voice is funny.
What does he say or she say? It's something good. Don't fucking touch me! Or something like that. She gets all
I don't
crazy.
think she says that.
She
but
gets wild with him.
it is crazy, though. I can't remember what she says, though.
The eye pop is good though, and that's when I was like, okay, so there's gonna be good shit in this because it was way better than the tongue bite. I mean,
More
it's more
graphic
on
and
screen.
better
Yeah,
done.
we see way more of it. Fuck. So at this point,
We see
We-
Franny and Max having sex in the coffin.
yeah. So Franny is the Asian girl, and Max is the other hot guy.
The guy, yeah.
This is like this is like the couple that is seen like the least.
Yeah.
Because
I
they're just
will
out
say-
fucking around all the time.
I will say the actress that played Franny, I thought in this whole movie that she looked familiar, and she is in a
really
couple of
pretty.
other B horror movies, and she's in Sleepaway Camp 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I did hear about that. I do know that.
So I was like, oh
She's
shit,
really
that's
pretty.
why she looks familiar. But yeah, they're a little freaks. They find some dirty ass fucking coffins, and they're like, you ever made in a coffin?
Tinkerbell and the Doctor?
And then this kill is like
Well, Stooge gets
Stooge
possessed
is possessed by Angela
because, like, when
the
she kills
tongue.
him, yeah.
And Stooge is the one that comes in and finds them in the coffin and just repeatedly slams the coffin. What is it? A lid?
Door?
Yeah,
it a
lid.
door?
It's a lid.
That sounds funny too, though. Like the lid of a coffin. The coffin lid. No, I feel like it should have its own name, but I like lid. This takes the lid of the coffin.
It should have its own name.
I don't know. Lid just sounds funny. It sounds so like innocent. Like it's the lid and like a coffin lid just sounds funny to me. Like he slammed a coffin lid on his
Between
arm.
the three of us, we should know like we should know definitively like the parts of a coffin, right?
I mean, I'm sure it is just the lid, but that sounds
I
funny.
mean, some
And,
of
like,
us have coffins tattooed on us.
That's true.
I
That
would-
is true.
Know what the names of the parts are.
That's a lid.
It's a lid.
That's a lid. All right,
If
back
any-
to the movie.
If any of you out there, any of you Elmers know the specific
Any of you
name
got-
for the lid of a coffin,
Any
please
coffin
at
builders
us.
in the chat?
Yeah,
Yeah.
first person to build me a coffin that sleeps
Wins.
Bill
Double.
and myself. You
3.
can live in the 13th Elm studio for 1 month rent free.
But you have to kill us 3 and put us in a coffin and bury us.
But I can't fit in there. It can only fit Bill and Mykel, but I want you to stuff me in there.
Yes, hard.
It's made to only fit us, but you have to somehow get Rob
Yeah,
in there.
you do.
Yes, you can cut us up if you need to.
Prefer not, but you know.
get more points every time you have to make
Yeah,
a cut
you get
on one
more
of our
points.
bodies. You
Minus
get a
1.
point taken off.
-1.
-1. Cut off
And-
it, my leg.
You can redeem those at any local Dave and Buster's.
Yes, thank you, Dave and Buster's, for the mutilation
Shout
discount.
out.
Oh,
that
are
we're
we
allowed to do.
hosting next week?
D&D.
Are we doing next week at Dave and Buster's?
I think.
Oh,
we
Yeah, I
are.
think
We're doing a Serbian film at Dave and Buster's, right?
we're
Yep.
doing the Elmies live at Dave and Buster's. We're gonna nominate everybody, and then do it live like the Dundies.
Yeah, it's also a charity event for the local elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
Cause they're Elmies.
Yeah, because they're Elmies.
Elementary school
Yeah,
Elmies.
and they're all Serbs.
Yeah.
They're Serbian Americans.
Yeah, it's an immersion school. It's an immersion elementary Serbian school.
Yeah. Back to the film. Coffin arm slamming. That's where
Gratuitous.
we were, right? Gratuitous.
To where
coffin
to where
arm
it,
slamming.
like little severs his arm, which is pretty good. Like
It's decent. It's decent.
Yeah.
Oh, and
effects
then
with the arm, like, grabbing him.
reanimates and
And
starts
then the arm
grabbing.
grabs
Like, yeah.
somebody. Grabs
Doesn't-
Judy, I think, right? I
Can't
think
really-
Judy discovers her.
yeah, but can't really do anything. She just screams and freaks the fuck out.
Yeah, this is funny. Yeah, it doesn't hurt her or anything. It just grabs her ankle. Which was a fun little, like, I don't know, that was like a little Dead Alive moment in my mind, at least, you know, something that would happen in there, you know.
I do know.
You know, so at this point, pretty much everybody is infected or whatever, possessed, whatever you want to call it,
Or
except
dead.
for Roger, Judy, and Sal, or dead.
Which
We do find out that the dead people come back alive too.
they kind of stay
soon.
possessed-ish or whatever.
Yeah, this was like kind of unclear because they're like just dead and alive, but they're not. They don't have the same look that the possessed.
No, they
people
look
do.
like the Deadites, kind of, or
Yeah.
like maybe even
They're
like
the
if you watch
zombies.
Buffy, like when the vampires go vampiric,
They
they kind of
vamp
have
out.
like that crumpy face.
Yeah, so we got everyone's
Pug
either
face.
Crumpy.
possessed. You got Crumpy Face, or you're
Pug
Roger,
face.
Judy, and Sal. Roger's still outside. Sal's just like, oh, they have like this crazy fight
Sal,
on the roof.
Angela, Sal, and Judy discover Suzanne with Jay's body, and Sal gets thrown out the fucking window.
Yep.
Yeah,
And
and then there's a there's a
and they
good
all
roof
try to
fight.
like escape. Yeah, there's like a roof fight, window throwing, like building climbing escape sequence.
Because Roger has figured out that the gate is gone, but they need to get over the wall to get over the water.
Because once they break over the barrier of the water, the demons can't
They
follow.
can't go there. And this is a moment I liked because Sal dies
He's
to
fucking
save.
impaled.
Yeah.
to save Judy.
Yeah.
So Judy's like, I don't remember at this point, she's like hanging off the roof or something, but Angela's still up
She's
there
trying
and
to climb
fighting,
down,
and
yeah.
Sal realizes that there's only one thing he can do to save for Judy to live. The only
sacrifice.
other outcome is like he becomes possessed and then will then kill Judy, or Judy will just die. Because so Sal grabs Angela and like they leap off together, kind of like Harry and Voldy. But yeah, Sal gets impaled and killed. But I like this because it was another like at the beginning, we see Sal as like this piece of shit guy that's from Brooklyn or Boston or somewhere in between, or Italy. I don't
Sicily.
know. Or you don't
Yeah.
know. But he's like painted as the bad guy, and he ends up,
Being a good guy.
taking his life to save someone, his ex-girlfriend technically. And Jay, who we think is the nice guy at the beginning, ends up being a piece of shit and gets his eyes gouged out. So I thought that was fun. And then we see, oh God, this was funny. I don't remember what the gap was here, but the demon is like, look over here, fucker, or something. That's not what they say, but there's a tombstone. And
Oh,
Oh,
it says,
God.
born
It
August
sounds-
1970, died tonight. It's like something out of Tales from the
You
Crypt. It's
loved
crazy.
that. You loved that.
It was
so good.
funny. I just said Sal. Yeah, it says birthday, and then it just said died tonight.
Sal Romero. Wild. Wild.
And then this. So, I mean, the whole movie is funny, but you can kind of say the first 40 minutes, and then the first 30 minutes are really funny, and then we get like possession and kills, and it's not as funny, and then it gets really funny again, in my opinion. And part of that is that Tombstone was really fucking funny, and then we get now it's just Judy and Roger, and they're in like the basement or whatever,
The
and
crematorium.
they find
Yeah.
yes, but they don't know that, but would be amazing to think that as viewers we weren't supposed to know that, because they're like, oh my God, it's a door, and they're like, open it, see where it leads, and I'm like, I'm so not. I had at this point I haven't been sober in hours. I'm drunk. I'm like really high, and I'm like, this is a joke right there. It's a fucking crematorium.
Yep.
Fucking door. But they're like, oh, we found a door. See where it leads, and they open it. And I'm like, okay, yeah, they've opened it. They know it's a crematorium. Still, no. She like is sticking her head in there, and she's like, oh, it's just a big oven.
Yeah. And then pulls
And
his skull
Roger's
out.
like, you mean a crematorium? And I'm like, finally, goddamn.
And they're baking baguettes in that.
I thought that was really funny, though, because they were so excited that it was just like a door
Yeah.
out. And I was like, this is obviously not that. And then we get there's lots of thinking out loud in this movie, or like characters saying out loud what they should just be thinking, because they're presuming that the audience is like really dumb. Which I don't know if you guys thought that was funny, but I thought it was funny. Like, before Sal gets on the roof, he goes outside and he's like, that looks like a pipe. I think it's probably strong enough to use to climb on the roof. And then and then uses it to climb on the roof, and there's like a lot of that. And then like another part of that is like, they can't go to hell. It's Halloween. This is the one. Didn't she say the one? And like we fucking
Yes, she
get
did
that
say
again.
that,
Like
yeah.
it's like, yeah, just in case you fucking didn't remember this from 30 minutes ago. And they're trapped in the basement. The doors start coming. The screws are coming out, and Roger's terrified.
He's
Right?
been terrified
What did
this
you
whole
think?
movie.
Yeah, what did you think of that portrayal
He's great.
of him?
Roger is actually really well acted, and I think that I had made the remark a couple times that I was surprised that Roger had still made it around, and that's because Roger is a brother, and Roger I expected to be gone.
First.
We're almost there. And so I'm not to speed it up too much, but Roger makes it the whole fucking movie, man.
Yep.
Roger makes it to the end. And I think that he's one of the characters, like Sal, who very early on, like, he did not want anything to do with the seance. He locked himself in the car. Like, he played it smart. He played it safe. He wasn't fucking around, and he didn't give a shit. Like, he wanted to get out of there, and he was like a good friend and a good guy. Like, he might have been a little stereotypical in some ways, but for 1988 it wasn't bad.
Not as
and
bad as
he
other shit we've
made it to
seen.
the end, and he was a good guy. I liked Raj. Raj just fucking gets a thumbs up for me.
Yeah, they tried to make us think at one time that he was going to be a bad guy. He makes it over the wall. because you have to climb up barbed wire to get over the
That
wall.
was wild.
And he's like trying to help Judy up, and then he falls. And Judy's like getting pulled at, and I actually like this part, and I wanted it to go the way
Other
it
way?
didn't.
Right.
Because he's laying on the ground, realized that he had fell, and he's covering his ears to try to not hear Judy scream while these demons are reaching at her. And for a while, I was like, wow, he's going to be the last alive, and he's going to have his hands over his ears like while Judy gets ripped apart, and that's going to be fucking
metal.
awesome. But sure enough, he shows up again. He climbs back up and helps her over, and they both
live.
make it out. So
Well, before they get there, I didn't mean to hijack it and jump up,
Yeah,
but they're
no,
in the
go ahead.
crematorium,
yeah.
and they are
Oh yeah, fire stuff.
figuring out that there's pipes and gas, and they can make a makeshift flamethrower type of thing. And I am kind of moving just because we already told you they make it out. But at this point, we're gonna get a visit from who is it? Suzanne and no, it's Angela and
Angela.
Stooge, right?
Mhm.
Come into the crematorium to try to kill them, and Judy just starts torching everybody, just burning the shit out of everybody. She even says at one point, like, I don't know how to turn it
Turn it
off.
off.
Like,
Yeah.
get the valve.
Which is great, 'cause, yeah.
Because how would you, right?
Exactly.
And so she's just fucking torching them, and this is good effects right here. The burning and the melting and the fire. This was all fun. This was good.
Well, it's like people in fire suits,
Yeah.
Yeah.
which is another good thing about the 80s is do you want someone on fire or someone just getting
Yeah.
lit on fire?
Kane Hodder will be there and fucking just oversee some crazy fire stunt that,
Wow.
you know.
Exactly. And even earlier, we touched on it a little bit. When Angela says, "Oh, I'm just heating up," and she has her hands on the fire.
Oh,
like,
yeah,
that
that
was
was cool.
real.
That looked good.
Like they talked about how they have like I think you could even see it on screen that there's like a bucket of water to like ensure they could like get the shot, and she could
Yeah.
shove her hands in the water immediately. But yeah, it was like the fucking 80s. Like they're lighting you on
Honestly-
fire if
Wild.
they need you to.
So with
Me
this,
too.
one of the things that I learned about this movie that is kind of crazy, but it makes more sense is like, had you guys heard about this movie? Or like, what was your familiarity with this movie before watching it?
I hadn't heard about it until, honestly, my subscription to Shudder, shout out my sister, is what got me into a lot of these campy 80s movies, and it was just learning about other ones that I have seen that this one came on my radar. So this has like been in my Shudder list for a while, and I just know it from being one of those cult classics, like 80s campy fun.
But it's, I don't know. I know that we've all been in the horror a lot, and I know that we've also like pushed each other like deeper into this obsession over the last couple of years, and like we've really broadened our horizons quite a bit. But I hadn't heard of this movie until the last few years myself.
Yeah,
And one of the reasons this movie has, in my opinion, not achieved so much success is because like at the time 80s horror, you know, it gets panned and it didn't get critical, you know, praise. Obviously it's since come about to some cult status. There's been sequels and remakes. The sequels aren't great, the remakes didn't do well, but people like the movie. It's got its fans. But when it was released, it experienced a regional release. So it's like world release was in Detroit, and it went on tour. So it didn't make it. So this movie actually came out in '87 in Detroit, but it didn't make its like national full tour of theaters in like North America until like it debuted in the theaters and didn't come out of theaters for like a year and a half. And it ended up pulling like 3.1 million that opening weekend, just like in the Great Lakes market, which was pretty fucking huge. And there's been some studies on this, and it's just some made up numbers, but it's fun to speculate. But people have said that had this had like a nationally distributed theatrical release with those numbers projected, held up across the nation for X amount of time, it would have been like one of the most successful horror movies of the 80s, financially. And I kind of think that would have been appropriate for this movie. Like, it's so 80s.
Yeah.
It's kind of the perfect, like, 80s campy, cheesy, gore, boobs movie. Like, in a lot of ways. Like, it might not be my favorite, it might not be the first pick, but, like, it checks all of the boxes. And I was surprised at how good it looked, how, like, the quality of the acting, even though some of the writing was a little cheap and shoddy and, like, silly.
Yeah.
Like, the acting wasn't bad. The effects were good. The story was fine enough. Like, was it airtight? No, but I mean, fuck, it was
It didn't
so
need
much.
to be,
No,
you know?
and it's so much better than the contemporaries of the time too. Like, this movie was badass.
Yeah, this was fun.
It was a good pick. So I appreciate you doing that.
Anytime.
Yeah. So anyway, they burn down those guys and they get out of there and they go to climb over the wall. We're talking about we're talking about Judy and Raj.
Yep.
And then, like, the whole horde, right? You got Stooge and Angela and Franny and Max and Sal and Jay. All the undead versions of the friend group or the teens or whatever.
And this is when you see, again, the first girl that died that we don't know her name.
Her smashed
And her
ass face.
Fucking smashed
Dude,
face.
you know,
Like,
fucking
good.
Cannibal
I
Corpse,
know.
like, hammer,
Fuck.
smashed face. Like, that shit was so brutal. It was good.
Yeah.
And yeah, they make it over the wall. They have that moment we said, because they had to go over the barbed wire, and then Raj is kind of portrayed like maybe he's going to let Angela fucking suffer. Or not Angela, I keep doing that, Judy.
Yeah.
But he gets her over. And then they walk as the sun's coming up. They look like shit, right? They're all tattered and torn and dirty and bloody. And
it's like
just tired.
sunrise on the day after Halloween.
And that fucking asshole.
That grumpy old man sees him and says,
He's
"You
in his
rotten
lawn.
pig trash."
Yeah, he's just rotten pig trash. Like,
Up all night.
Yeah.
just getting in. He's so fucking rude to them. So he checks his mail or whatever and goes back in his house and he sits down. He's talking to his wife. And this was really good, right?
She says, "Good morning." And he says, "Oh, yeah? What's good about it?"
God, he's such a dick. And she's like, well, I had enough time because it was so quiet last night. There's no real trick-or-treaters less this year than last year. I was able to make me this homemade or apple pies or some shit. And he's
Your
eating
favorite treat. I don't even think she says
yeah,
what it is. Or
and
some
he's
shit
eating
like
the
that.
apple pies or whatever. And he's like, what? Homemade? And she goes, yeah, homemade. And he goes, well, where'd you get the apples? And she goes, and that's what she says. She goes, well, there was no trick-or-treaters last night, so we had all this leftover candy, and with the leftover apples, I went ahead and put them in the pie for you because it's your favorite treat. And at this point, we remember
Yeah.
that he was putting razor blades in the apples to give to the kids. And of course, while his wife was preparing a fucking apple pie, you know, like skinning, cutting, cooking, and preparing the fucking apples to put in the pie, she didn't stumble across the fucking razor
No,
blades.
she knows.
knew.
Because it comes out of his fucking throat.
No,
and
she-
he chokes
she-
on blood,
she
and then
murdered
she
him.
says, "Happy Halloween, dear,"
Yeah,
and
she
pats
does it
him on the back.
purpose.
Of course she does, but it's like, you know, like initially, you know, he's just eating a pie. Like,
Yeah, at first you're like, yeah, you're not sure. And it is funny
it's
because he...
insane.
I like
to
the
me.
idea that he swallowed an entire mouthful of razor blades.
Yeah, he takes so many bites, and then all of a sudden, like 5 razor blades just pop out of his throat.
It's wild.
It's good gore.
But the
too,
gore was
actually.
good. Yeah. And Happy Halloween, dear. And then credits.
That was fucking fun.
Good pick.
I know we waited a little bit for the gore, and I know maybe some of us, and I'm typically among the gore hounds of this, but like, I got what I wanted out of that, and I didn't necessarily need more. Absolutely would have taken and loved more, but like I said, it was fun. You had quotes, iconic scenes, iconic characters. Like Angela's character, especially like possessed Bauhaus dancing Angela, like that's iconic.
That scene is so good.
You got the camp, you got the boobs, you got the drugs, the high school fucking bullshit, sing along, whatevers, and it was fun. I really like this movie. It's a great pick.
I agree. What would you rate it?
For me, we're off to a hot start this year. Season 3, episode 2. I'm going to give
This is episode
Night
3.
of the Demons. Well, it says episode. Okay. Yes, this is. Tammy doesn't count because it's automatic 100. Duh. But this, we didn't even give out ratings on Tammy because we all give it 100, right?
It's 100, yeah.
Okay. So this movie, to me, 83.
I was going to give it an 82. And Rob's going to give it a 60. A hard 60.
49. No. I don't know. Like, I did like this movie a lot. And if it had gone the extra inch on a few things, it really, I would have been told. I'm definitely going to watch this again. But, I wanted more gore.
I think some of it ended up on the cutting room floor, unfortunately.
Definitely.
You know what I mean?
And, like, like you were saying earlier, like, I'm invested in these characters. And I don't necessarily think we needed 49 minutes to get there. But it wasn't, I don't know. It's, like, long enough to, when you finally see some gore, that you're like, I don't know if you're relieved, but you're expecting it.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's like 70, 75?
Okay.
It's pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Yeah,
That's
we're all
pretty good.
pretty close on that one. Yeah. So,
watching a movie next
average
week?
to a little bit above average. It's good.
Good camp.
Next week, well, we're doing the Dave & Buster's next week, right?
We'll be at Dave & Buster's next week.
We'll
It
be
might not
the flagship Dave &
sound
Buster's.
like it,
We're
but
Times
at-
we'll
Square.
be there.
Everybody knows that is in Times Square.
Times Square.
We'll be in Times Square at Dave & Buster's. Go there. Go to the hostess and say,
Boca
we
Bagnata.
are looking for the Boca Bagnata table. You'll come right to us.
Yep.
Yeah, we have bottle service.
And we're watching Mykel's movie, which is...
Alrighty, so I had a couple different movies in mind. I'll keep it short, but what we ended up with is more of the same because I had so much fun with this movie. I want
More
to keep it
camp?
camp, and not only am I going to keep it camp, we're
You're
going to
good.
keep it Linnea Quiqley.
Oh!
Oh.
So
Slap
we
that.
are watching Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers.
Oh, nice. That
Which
sounds
is-
crazy.
Yes. It's been on my watch list for quite some time. It hasn't been available streaming anywhere, although it is at Gorehound's Playground. I did notice that you're wearing a shirt tonight.
Shout out.
Now let's say, hey, what up, Jeff? We know you're a big fan. I'm not
G-
renting the
G-
movie from
G-
you. I'm gonna watch it on Tubi because it is
I was
now.
about to say, where is it, TV?
It's it is now available to stream on Tubi. So the Hollywood Chainsaw
Fun.
Hookers, I think it's like 1986. We'll come with the facts next week. Right now we're just spitballing because we're wrapping this bitch up. We got something to do tonight. What are we doing tonight?
We're going to go watch Jordan Peele's Nope.
Do you think it's gonna suck?
Nope.
Nope. But
Alright.
also maybe, but probably not.
Probably
It's
not.
definitely not going to suck. We'll see if it's as good as I want it to be. Nope.
We'll
We are
probably talk
sponsored
about
by
it next week.
Jordan Peele. Leave your comments about Nope in the comments.
Yeah, Jordan Peele, he sends me money in my Cash App directly. I'm only allowed to spend it on new shoes and kale.
Hashtag ad.
Mm.
This is paid advertisement by Jordan Peele. Buy shoes and
Kale.
kale at jordanpeelskale.com.
Don't forget to peel your kale.
Don't forget to peel your kale.
Don't forget to peel your kale. And
Thank
on
you.
that note, thank
Thank
you.
Yeah. Pull up with us, watch 2 films. Come on, watch 2 films. If you scared, don't come over here. 13th Elm.